Hello, my name is Bill Szabo. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, hypnotherapist, and psychoanalyst. Today we will be talking about Eric Berne, a pioneer in communication theory. He was born in 1910 and died in 1970. He was a Canadian-born psychiatrist best known for developing the theory of Transactional Analysis, also known as TA. Berne completed his medical training in the United States and later served as a psychiatrist in the Army. After the war, he continued his psychiatric work, focusing heavily on individual psychology and, most importantly, in communication between couples. Berne's interest in human interactions led him to explore beyond traditional Freudian psychoanalysis. He developed transactional analysis, or TA, as a way of studying the way individuals communicate with each other. TA argues that people operate from one of three personality states, acting in a manner consistent with the way a parent, adult, or child would communicate with each other, regardless of the age of the individual. This idea gained widespread attention and was seen as a breakthrough in understanding of human social interactions. Most people can observe and relate to Berne's theoretical concepts, which is why it has become so widely accepted. Because TA became so popular, the term pop psychology was invented and used to describe it. So, each communication interplay outlines a game with its own set of rules, roles, and dynamics, revealing how individuals engage in these behaviors to secure emotional benefits, albeit sometimes in self-defeating or in a destructive manner. Next, I will discuss some of the most widespread and common games. Please note that not everyone plays these games, but here are a few that we may be playing with each other. I will give a definition of the game and a short example of each. If it weren't for you. Definition: blaming a partner for inhibiting personal freedoms or choices. For example, a wife complains she could have been a dancer if her husband had not needed a stable home life. Why don't you? Yes, but. The definition is rejecting all helpful suggestions when presented with a problem. For example, a person asks for advice on how to get better sleep, but counters every suggestion with the reason why it won't work. They usually start their replies to suggestions with, "Yes, but." Now I've got you, you son of a bitch. The definition: setting a trap to catch someone in a mistake. For example, waiting and hoping for a colleague to make a mistake or error on a project, then, in the meaning, pointing it out with glee for others to see. See what you made me do. Definition: using accidents as a way to shift blame to others. For example, a person messes up a task and blames their friend for distracting them. Uproar. Definition: creating a distraction to avoid a significant issue. For example, starting a fight about chores when the topic of relationship commitment arises. Another game is called Kick Me, provoking others to criticize or attack. For example, continuously complaining or making personal mistakes to draw negative attention. Again, another game is called Poor Me, and this gaining sympathy or controlling by portraying oneself as a victim. For example, complaining about suffering more misfortune than others to garner sympathy. Then there is Ain't It Awful. Definition: bonding over shared negativity or criticism. An example of Ain't It Awful would be two friends consistently gossiping about their hardships of their jobs. Shamil. Definition: someone who causes minor mishaps and then lets others clean up after them, affirming both their roles. An example: a clumsy person always spills drinks, while their partner always tidies up. Blemish. Definition: criticizing small flaws in others to feel better about oneself. An example would be pointing out minor mistake in someone else's attire. Stamp collecting. Definition: accumulating grievances over time, sometimes years old, to justify an eventual explosion. An example: a person who hoards small slights from their partner from years ago and then uses them as ammunition in a current big argument. Courtroom. Definition: turning conversations into trials where one person judges and another defends. An example: a family argument, who is to blame about not doing the dishes. Then there is harried. Definition: using busyness as a tactic to avoid real issues or intimacy. An example: always claiming to be too busy to discuss important relationship issues. Indigence. Definition: adopting an incapacitated role to avoid obligation and elicit help. For example, would be a person regularly claims they are too broke to pay for their shared expenses, relying on friends to cover for them. And finally, there is the game of Go Fish, where a person throws out various allegations, hoping to get a reaction. In today's vernacular, it is throwing out accusation after accusation, hoping to trigger the other person in the hope that one of their accusations, whether true or not, will bother them and the accusations stick. These are only few of the games people play with each other. Transactional analysis groups were formed in the late 1960s to provide therapy and to identify additional games that could be added to the list. TA is just as relevant today as it was back in the 1960s.